Did Pud turn my life upside down? Did I have any earth-shaking revelations about myself? Did I succeed? Fail? Fall somewhere in between? I am shocked, I tell you, at how this project is going. Be sure to stay tuned till the end to find out what I ended up doing that I said I absolutely did not want to do. Okay, so that was a little dramatic, but it was kind of fun. And hopefully it will keep people watching past that 30-second mark because a lot of people leave before you ever get into the video. So what you're here for is to see how my project Use It Up is going. And honestly, it's going really, really well. When I said in that beginning dramatic intro that I was shocked with how things were going, I wasn't just using hyperbole. I mean, I was, but I wasn't completely. I am shocked at how easy this has been and how excited I have been to use these products that had just been sitting there forever because I didn't want to use them before. They had just a little bit left and I wanted to move on to something else. But now it's like, it's a challenge. And so somehow it's made it more fun and it's working. I mean, I'm using things up. I've only been doing this for a month. And I have a lot of things that I've emptied. So in that respect, it's actually going much better than I ever really imagined that it would. So let's find out what I've used up, what came into the project, and I actually have space for 2 things, and I'm going to figure that out and add those in this video. And as I use things up, I just kind of threw them in this basket. So let's dive right into my basket, shall we? So the first thing I pulled out is my Catrice HD Liquid Coverage. This was one of the initial products in the basket. I know that I love this foundation. This one was actually 030 Sand Beige, and I also have 010 Light Beige, and I need to mix them to get the right color. So obviously I'm somewhere in between, which I assume will be 020. And so I do intend to repurchase this foundation at some point. I kind of also want to try the Catrice True Skin, so I may try that before I repurchase this one. But this gives such a pretty finish on the skin. It lasts 10 hours without me having to touch it. I expect a lot out of my foundations. Some people will be like, oh, it has, 5 or 6 hours wear time, and then if I touch it up, I can get a couple more. I don't want to touch my face from the time I put my makeup on until I take it off. And generally that's at least 8 hours and often more like 9 or 10. I don't want to touch my face. I don't want to have to touch up. I don't want to have to blot. I don't want to have to powder. It just needs to flat out last. And if it doesn't, then I don't want it. I don't care if it's a light coverage, medium coverage, full coverage. I have foundations that can do that. And if it can't, I don't want it. So this one does, but I have other things that I want to try. So I don't know that I'm going to repurchase this right away. I do know that it will be on my repurchase list. Before I actually get rid of the components here, I'm going to start keeping a list of categories and products that I've used up and what I think about them. So that when it does come time to repurchase, if I'm going to purchase something that I've used in the past, I have an idea of what it is that I want to do. I don't want to be standing in the drugstore aisle and thinking, I know I used that, but I can't remember what I thought about it. So anyway, I'm going to create some sort of a spreadsheet and I'll update you guys with what I end up doing with that too, maybe in my next PUD update, okay? When I rolled that one out, I rolled in another foundation, and this was the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie, and I got this in an Ipsy. I think it was when I got the regular bag. I know that I didn't purchase this like in an add-on or something, so since it's a sample size, it must have come when I was still getting the regular Ipsy Glam Bag. And I really do like this foundation. In fact, it's what I have on my face right now, but I did have to mix it with something else because it was too dark. So I don't really know how it works by itself, since I've always had to mix it with something in order to make it work for my skin tone. And I enjoyed using it. I don't have any plans to repurchase this either in an Ipsy pop-up or in a full size. I just don't. So while I enjoyed using it, it's gone and I'm kind of glad because now it's not taking up room. The concealer that I started out in my initial basket was the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and it is definitely gone. I mean, I scraped as much out of there as I could. And this brings up a good point. Something that I use to make sure that I'm getting all of the product I can out of these almost empties is this little set of makeup spatulas that I got on Amazon. They will be linked down below, if not this exact set, then one very similar. And there's a small one for the little stuff. And when you're trying to use up a concealer, you take out the stopper. I actually had somebody ask me this question. And the way I do that is I have a super pointy tweezer and let me put that part down. I get up under the lip and I just kind of push, and then I work my way around the stopper, getting under there and pushing up. And eventually it just popped out. And I needed to take this one out too because it's almost empty. This is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh and it's almost gone. And then it allows you to kind of get in there and go around the sides, or use your little spatula and get in there and scoop some out. So you can actually use up all of the product and not leave that much down at the bottom, because the doe foot doesn't go all the way down. So you can't get that last little bit unless you take out the stopper. So that's how I do that. And the e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Concealer is probably going to be a repurchase, but I'm not totally sure about that yet because I do have other concealers I like and I have other concealers I want to try. So we'll see. Another of the original items in the project was this KVD Lock-It Translucent Setting Powder, and I was curious if I could use a mini setting powder up in 3 months. Well, I actually used it up in less than 1. I use this pretty much every day for my setting powder, and because it's kind of small, I would just tap it into the lid or I'd tap it onto my palette. Generally did not use it under my eyes. Sometimes I did, but I did use it on my face and used it up. Now, I intend to keep this little container because when I travel, I think it would be awesome to put powder in here and not have to take the big thing of powder. So, not going to actually throw away the component for this one. And then also in the original project was this Essence I Heart Color eyeshadow base. I used this for the last time today and it is stopperless and gone. So, repurchase. I like it, I really do, because it is a good eye primer. It does provide some coverage and it does help the eye makeup last. But I just really like this one and I don't need two. So if I have one that I really like, then I don't need to keep looking for something else, right? And that's kind of been a realization that I'm coming to. I don't have to keep searching for the best if I have something I like. And now it's a little bit different because I have decided to do YouTube. And so, yes, I'm going to have more than just the one that I like, but I don't need to be on an endless search for every category. Some things you can just have your go-to standard and let it be. Okay, enough philosophizing for one video. Another thing that was not actually officially part of the project, but I used up anyway because there's been this weird mind shift that's happened, and I'm kind of scrounging the bottom of the drawers for things that have gotten down there because they're almost gone and I didn't want to use them. And one of them was Maybelline Instant Age Rewind 110 Fair, and I only had like 2 uses left in this. I don't know why I just left it at the bottom of the drawer and didn't finish it, but it's done now, so woohoo, another concealer. I finished a lip liner. This is a Mary Kay lip liner in neutral, and I have a little bit of an advantage with Mary Kay because my mom sells it and I like it, but I'm not going to feature it on my channel because I like to focus more on the drugstore affordable end, and I kind of think that, you know, Mary Kay's a little bit more up there. I get the friends and family discount, so it's not for me, but it is for the general public, so it's just not something I'm going to focus on here, but I do use some Mary Kay products. Then, sadly, my Wet n Wild Brulee had a fall. It got pushed off the back of my makeup table, and while it only had a little bit left around the edges, it shattered, and I decided that since it did only have a little bit left around the edges, it could be done. I had a backup. It's already been opened. I'm using it. It's all good, but this one's done. And then the last item that I have used up was a Maybelline Sky High Mascara. I know a lot of people really love this mascara. I liked it okay, but I didn't love it. I don't plan to repurchase it. And it's not really that it did anything wrong, the mascara per se, but I didn't like the wand. It's really flexible, and I just like it to be not that flexible. It's also that rubbery kind of Christmas tree looking thing, and that's not my favorite wand either. So if you love this mascara, please don't take anything I'm saying as to say that you shouldn't like it. It just didn't work for me. I love the Essence False Lash Effect mascara, but I know that there are people who don't use it because they say it smudges on them. It never smudges on me, ever, or flakes. I can wear it for 10, 12 hours and it's fine, but other people wear it for a few hours and they get smudges under their eyes. Them not liking it doesn't mean that I don't. Man, I'm kind of going on and on and on tonight, aren't I? I need to get done though because I need to fix supper. I'm starving. So what's the status then of the products that are still left in the PUD basket? Project Use Up the Dribs and Drabs, or Project Use It Up. Okay, well, there is only one original product still left in the basket, and that is my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. And I kind of have to be careful because this component is completely destroyed. But there is just the tiniest little bit left in the corners, and a little bit of it has broken out, but I really have used it down to this much. At this point, I'm using this brush because I can actually get in here, but honestly, 1 or 2 more uses is about all I'm going to be able to get out of this. I think when I get it on my face, it's more kind of what's left on the brush than what I'm getting out of here. But I'm not going to purchase it right now because I have plenty of bronzers here that need me to show them some love. And I think this might be a little bit warmer than I prefer for a bronzer. I will put it in the maybe section for repurchase of whatever tracking system I come up with. By the way, who even am I talking about coming up with a tracking system? Did you see my first PUD? One of the reasons I wanted to do this was because I didn't want to track anything. It's either gone or it's not gone. That was the amount of tracking. And now here I am talking about setting up a tracking system for what I want to repurchase. So I don't even need to think about repurchasing a bronzer for quite some time. But when I do, I'm not sure it's going to be this one. Then a product that I have rolled in is the NYX Marshmallow Primer. I bought this trial size because I wanted to try it, but honestly, the full size is kind of expensive. NYX is kind of getting a little expensive for drugstore, isn't it? Has anybody noticed that? That NYX kind of used to be comparable to e.l.f. and that sort of thing, and it's just not anymore. Speaking of e.l.f., I wanted to let you know, and this is probably as good a time as any, if you like the NYX Marshmallow Primer, but you don't want to spend the Marshmallow Primer price, this e.l.f. Luminous Matte Primer is the same thing without the marshmallow smell. I use these side by side on my face to test this theory of mine because when I first used this, I'm like, gosh, this feels just like the e.l.f. Consistency, texture, and the way they look on your skin under makeup, identical. I mean, it seems kind of silly to be talking about a dupe for a drugstore product, but $17 versus $8. I'd rather pay the $8. And some people don't like that marshmallow smell, and this one doesn't have it. So there you go. Anyway, this was added in. Another thing that I have added in is the L'Oreal True Match Blush in C34 Tender Rose. And this is one that I have repressed. When it got into just the corners, I kind of broke it out and repressed it so that I could get more together. When I first put it in the project, it was out to about here. And so I've used quite a bit of this. All right. What has this project gotten me to do that I said I did not want to do? Tracking. I said I wanted to do this PUD style project, use up the dribs and drabs, project use it up, whatever you want to call it, because I didn't want to track. It's either not empty or it's empty. And when it's empty, it goes into another basket and something else goes into the basket. And then when I started, I was like, well, maybe it'd be okay if I just wrote down the 5 things and then I have a pen right in the basket and I could just put a tick mark on there when I use it. And it'd be kind of fun to know how many uses it took to get through and finish it up, right? That'd be kind of fun. And so I did, and it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, and I just had this little index card, and I put the card in the basket and the pen in the basket, and the basket stays right here because I want it close at hand so that I can use it. So how many uses did it take to use these things up? And if you're my age, I bet you just thought about an owl sitting in the tree saying, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The Catrice foundation, 8. 8 uses, and it was gone. The e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Concealer took 12. It took 9 uses to finish up the I Heart Color Eyeshadow Primer. The KVD Locket, this is surprising. This was a full mini. I'd only used it a couple of times. 12. I got 12 uses plus a couple of others out of that little mini setting powder. And those are the products that I have used up. So I thought that was kind of interesting and fun, and I will continue to mark my uses of the things that when I roll things in. I have 2 spots open in my basket because it's supposed to be a 5 product rolling project that will go through April 15th. So what are we going to put into those 2 spots? I think I'm going to put this Wander Beauty Mini, also from an Ipsy. It's been sitting around for a while and I need to use it up. I'm not sure of the color. I might have to mix something in. I think it's a little dark as well, but that's okay. I don't mind mixing. And I'm going to put in the sample of the Benefit Porefessional. I like this primer a lot. I think, Sylvia, I think you sent this to me, didn't you? Anyway, I really like it. It does blur and that sort of thing. I probably won't repurchase it because I have other blurring primers, but I like this one. So I'm going to stick that in, and that'll be the 5 items that I either continue working on or start working on for this next 30 days of the project. And I will come back in the middle of March and update, and I'm sure that I will have plenty more. The ones that I have already used, I'm not going to get rid of these yet because I want to have a final count at the end of the project and see how well this goes. But honestly, I thought maybe I'd get through a couple, 3, 4 tops. I did not expect there to be 9 items in this basket after the first month of the project. I thought maybe I might get 10 total over the whole 3 months, but this is really awesome. And that really makes me happy because I don't want stuff sitting around here until it goes bad and I have to throw it away. I know that there are some of you who have joined in with this project and are working on using up some products. And so if you have, please let us know down below how many products you have used up already. And also share anything that you might have learned about yourself and how you consume makeup and how you want to consume makeup in the future. Let's discuss it down below, okay? I think I've gone on long enough, but if you want to see more empties and reviews, then click on the playlist that I'm going to link in the next screen. Thanks for spending some time with me. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.